Hey YouTube mandolinists. Today we're going to talk about right hand technique, and this is the foundation for any style of music you want to play on the mandolin, be it bluegrass or jazz or choro. You got to get your right hand technique down, and this is going to be the foundation for playing fast, for tremolo, anything you want to do. You got to have your right hand technique down. You might have heard that there's no right or wrong technique on the mandolin. I'm going to show you what I believe is the right technique, because this is the technique that Mike Marshall uses, this is the technique that Chris Thiele uses, and I think for beginning mandolinists there's a lot of incorrect techniques that may work for some much more experienced players, but for a beginning mandolinist it's just going to be pitfalls. So let's get right to it. Alright, holding the pick. I use a grip that is known as a closed fist or a loose fist grip, where the fingers are bent inwards. They're not actually in a clenched fist, but they're bent inwards with a nice curve, pointing almost back at my body. And you slap the pick down here on top, and you slap your thumb down there on top, and that's pretty much about it. You can see there's about a little less than half the pick that sticks out past my thumb here, and even a little bit less that sticks out past the knuckles down here. Now, I don't actually have to grip the pick very hard because I've got all four fingers forming a column of support underneath the pick. That really gives it a lot of support without actually having to really squeeze it too hard. I'll talk a little bit about the particular pick that I use. This is a blue chip TAD 50 pick. It's a kind of a premium expensive pick, but you don't really need to use anything as fancy as this. This one is a TAD 50, which means it's 1.25 millimeters thick. So it's sort of in the mid-range of thickness. You know, when I started playing mandolin, I really hadn't gotten used to using a thicker pick. So I was using kind of a, lighter weight picks, and I kind of worked my way up to this one. This is what I'm using now. I expect that as I get better, I'm probably going to end up using thicker picks. One of the things I really like about this pick is that it has what's called a speed bevel on it. And this is just a little bevel on each edge that kind of lets it slide off of the strings a little bit easier. And it's something that Vegan does, it's something that Blue Chip does. More and more manufacturers are starting to put this on their picks. I really like it, not everyone does. I think it really helps for playing at fast tempos and playing at tremolo speeds. It just kind of makes it a little bit smoother on the attack. Movement for the right hand. You're not turning a doorknob. You don't want to be picking the strings with this kind of a motion. The motion you want is entirely in the vertical plane, and it's all from the wrist. Your wrist is just moving up and down like this. It's not your entire forearm. You just need to imagine that you've got a little axle coming into your wrist like this, and your wrist is rotating about it entirely in that vertical plane. That's the motion that you're using. Whether you're playing fast, whether you're playing slow, whether you're playing any type of music, this is what you're doing with your right hand. Now, when you're actually coming to grip the mandolin, there's going to be a slight bend in your wrist from your forearm to your wrist as you grip the mandolin. That's okay, that's natural. And because of that bend, as you're picking the strings like I just showed you, your forearm is going to rotate. There's going to be a very slight rotation of your forearm. That's fine, but in general you don't want anything to rotate except your wrist in this plane. Now, I like to take this fleshy part of my thumb, stick it right back here behind the bridge. I'm not planting it, I'm not really supporting it, I'm just kind of lightly brushing behind the bridge, using the bridge to kind of get my bearings and make sure I'm playing over the sweet part of the strings. I don't want to be playing too close here because I get bad tone. I like to be playing right about here, and so I'll just brush very slightly right behind the bridge as I'm playing. Okay, so that's your right hand. Let's talk about doing rest strokes. If you want to play fast, if you want to play any style of music, especially if you want to get a good clean tremolo, This is something you really ought to learn, and it's called a rest stroke. And what it is, it's a special type of downstroke where your pick actually comes to rest on the strings below the string that you're picking. So let's play some open D strings right now. I'm just going to play on this open D string, all downstrokes, and every time I pick, my pick is going to come to rest just briefly on the A string down here. Again, I'm using that nice relaxed up and down wrist motion. I'm just letting the pick drop, making sure I pick both strings, letting it rest just slightly on the A string, and then picking it up and doing it again. Now, this might sound elementary, but this is so essential to getting a good, clean sound on the mandolin, because this is what really gives you volume and power out of your downstrokes, is when you play rest strokes like these. It means that you're playing through both sets of the strings. It means that you're playing hard enough that you really get good tone and power out of your mandolin. And if you listen to some of the greats like Bill Monroe, where they use a lot of downstrokes, this is just, that's really the kind of feel that you want when you play these downstrokes. They should be accented. And you can practice it on any string. Of course, the E string, you have no strings. You just gotta kind of pretend there is one below it to rest on. And this is something that was taught to me by mandolinist Evan Marshall here in Los Angeles. And I wasn't used to it at first. It took me a little while to kind of get used to playing downstrokes like this. You might have to spend a week doing nothing but. But I promise you, once you get used to playing downstrokes like this, it will help your playing. Classical guitarists use rest strokes, classical mandolinists use them, a lot of folks use them, and it's to their benefit. And it's really going to help you once you start playing tremolo to play really expressive tremolo. So before you hit up the tremolo lesson, which is next, what I would do is I would just get real comfortable playing these rest strokes. It might feel a little odd at first, but just keep at it for a week and you're going to have it. All right, I'll see you at the next lesson. Thanks.